Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. We have made it through one whole week of this remote learning from home type situation, which has been really interesting, but cool. And I'm really glad that you have been watching our videos and showing us what you've been doing. So today is Friday. We have our last two chapters of Tigers at Twilight to find out what happens for Jack and Annie and what their gift is going to be. So the last thing that we read was that they were about to meet a man who had white hair, white beard, and was very peaceful. So I wonder who that is. Chapter 9 is called The Hermit. Ka and Ko smoothed the man's hair with their little paws and patted his cheeks gently. The man smiled and whispered to the Langers. His eyes stayed closed. Teddy walked up to the man and licked his hands. The man still didn't open his eyes, but he stroked Teddy's fur. Knock, knock, Annie said softly. Is someone there? The man asked. He turned his face toward Jack and Annie. Now his eyes were open, but he did not seem to see them. Jack realized that the man was blind. Hi, I'm Annie, said Annie. And I'm Jack, said Jack. The blind man smiled. Good, he said, nodding. Would you like to visit with me? Sure, said Annie. She and Jack sat down next to the man. Do you live in this forest? Annie asked. Yes, he said. Are you a hermit? Jack asked. Yes, the blind man said. What's a hermit? Said Annie. Hermits live far away from other people, said the blind man. We like to be alone to think. I live in the forest so I can learn from nature. How do you learn? Asked Jack. I listen, said the blind man. Listen to what? Asked Jack. To the chatter of the monkeys, the rumble of the elephant, the roar of the tiger, said the man. I have listened for so long, they have all begun to sound like one voice, the one great voice of the forest. Did the voice tell you that a tiger got caught in a trap last night? Asked Annie. Yes, said the hermit. And did it tell you that after we saved him, he tried to attack us? Said Jack. The blind man smiled. Please bring me one of the white flowers floating on the stream, he said. Jack wondered why the hermit was changing the subject, but Annie jumped up and hurried to the stream. She pulled at one of the large flowers. It came up, muddy root and all. She took it to the blind man. Some similarities between us and this man, right? We're all kind of alone. We have to be alone at home with our families, and we're learning in different ways, right? We're learning by going outside into our backyards and going on hikes and learning from nature. So come some similarities between us and this man right now and how we are living our lives a little differently. Thank you, he said. The man touched the flower's large white petals and its dirty root. This perfect lotus blossom grows from dark, thick mud, he said. Its beauty cannot live without its ugliness. Do you understand? Yes, said Jack and Annie. When you saved the tiger, you saved all of him, said the blind man. You saved his graceful beauty and his fierce, savage nature. You cannot have one without the other. Oh, right, said Jack. Take this lotus as a thank you gift from all the forest for saving our fierce friend, said the blind man. Our world would not be complete without him. Annie took the gift from the hermit. A gift from a forest far away, she said. Arf, arf! Teddy wagged his tail. The Langers clapped. We can go home now, said Jack, if we can just find the way. Do not worry, said the blind man. Your house in the trees is close by. The elephants walked in a large circle, so you're back at the place where you started. Really? Said Jack. The blind man pointed to the sky. There was the magic tree house, high in a nearby tree. Oh, great, breathed Jack. I told you not to worry, said Annie. She and Jack pulled on their socks and shoes and stood up. Before they left, Annie touched the hand of the blind man. Thanks for everything, she said. The man held her hand for a moment. Then he took Jack's hand. Jack felt a wave of calm wash over him. Thank you, he said to the blind man. Ka and Ko chattered and held out their long arms. Jack and Annie hugged the two Langers. We'll miss you, said Annie. You were great tour guide, said Jack. Goodbye. Then he and Annie took off for the magic treehouse with Teddy scampering after them. At the rope ladder, Jack put Teddy into his pack and climbed up. Annie carried the lotus blossom as she followed them. Inside the treehouse, Jack picked up the Pennsylvania book, but before he made a wish, he looked out the window with Annie. In the distance, they saw Saba and the other elephants bathing in the stream. They saw Ka and Ko swinging on vines. They saw the tiger sunbathing in the grass, licking his sore leg. They saw tiny deer grazing. They saw bright birds in the trees. They saw the blind man sitting in front of his cave. He was smiling. Jack opened the book. He pointed to a picture of the Frog Creek woods. I wish we could go home, he said. The treehouse started to spin. The wind started to blow. It blew harder and harder. Then everything was still. Absolutely still. Chapter 10. Who are you, really? Jack opened his eyes. Late afternoon sunlight shined into the treehouse. Our third gift, said Annie. She put the lotus blossom beside the pocket watch from the Titanic and the eagle's feather from the Lakota Indians. One more gift, she said to Teddy, and you'll be free from your spell. The little dog licked her hand. Hey, tell me this, said Jack. How did you know Teddy wanted us to hide behind that rock? Annie shrugged. I just knew, she said. I think I saw it in his eyes. You did? Jack looked into Teddy's eyes. The little dog tilted his head and stared back at Jack. Teddy's eyes twinkled as if they held many secrets. Who are you really? Whispered Jack. Teddy just smiled a doggy smile and wagged his tail. Come for us again soon, Annie said, okay? Teddy sneezed as if to say, of course. Jack grabbed his pack, then he and Annie climbed down the rope ladder. When they stood on the ground, they looked up. A little black nose was poking out the treehouse window. Bye, they called. Arf, arf. Jack and Annie took off between the trees. Birds sang in the twilight. Squirrels scampered playfully through the leaves. The Frog Creek woods were very tame after the forest in India. Soon they came to their street. As they walked to their house, the last bit of daylight was slipping away. Before they went inside, Jack and Annie sat on their steps. I have 2 questions, said Jack. If the hermit couldn't see, how did he know about our treehouse? And how did he know that we had traveled all night with the elephants? Easy, said Annie. The one great voice of the forest told him. Said Jack. He closed his eyes for a moment and listened. He heard a car going down the street. He heard a woodpecker pecking. He heard crickets chirping. He heard a screen door opening. He heard a mom saying, time for dinner, kids. All the sounds were like one great voice, the one great voice of home. There's a little lotus flower at the bottom. That's the flower that they took out that has a really big muddy root at the bottom. That's part of the beauty and the ugliness that comes with everything. So that was a really awesome story. The ending was really cool because it talked about this man who chooses to be alone, right? We're not choosing to stay home. We would much rather be at school. We'd much rather be with our friends and playing out in the parks and going to stores. But to keep everyone healthy, we're staying home. But we are home alone for the most part with our families, and figuring out different ways to stay busy, to stay learning and staying healthy and exercising. But it's also really important to make sure we're finding time to be peaceful. We talk about that at school sometimes too, is being able to be still and have a calm body and really let ourselves, our bodies, and our minds reset. So my challenge to you after reading this Jack and Annie book is to figure out ways that you can be peaceful and help your parents and your brothers and sisters and whoever's home with you, your animals. Help them be calm and peaceful too. Maybe figure out a way where you can kind of go outside and close your eyes and listen to the different sounds that you hear. Maybe you hear the wind blowing through the trees, or the cars that are driving by still, Or maybe you hear a dog barking in the distance. Who knows? But I challenge you to find time every day for you and for your family to be peaceful, to be calm, to let yourself reset. Because I know it's really easy to feel like we can just go, 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 go. Play, 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 play. Watch TV, play games, whatever you're doing. Find a time to be peaceful and to enjoy everything that's around you. All right, guys? Have a wonderful weekend and continue watching next week. Bye.